is it to wrap your head and your tongues around the dialogue at that kind of speed?
It's daunting.
Yeah.
It's daunting because not only is it daunting to say the actual words at that pace, but it's also hard to like add emotion. You know what I mean? And actually not just make it a robotic exercise in wordplay. So, but after the pilot, I think we got into the groove, the scandal pace. And
That's right.
I mean, I even went to a read for another job, and they were like, well,
slow down.
Slow down. They're like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I got to change my mind, my headspace.
And I'm a New Yorker, so I speak really fast naturally, and I've been told to speak slowly my whole life. On other jobs, or even my mother being like, okay, I can't understand what you're saying, so, slow down. But this is the first job that, Shonda was so specific about that the pace of the show is what makes it. That the show, that was so the vibe she wanted very specifically, and even in the pilot, she timed Columbus and I doing that first opening scene in the bar, which is incredibly fast. And I think it's really freeing almost, because you can't, your brain can't get in the way of the ticking time clock and the story that's about to break. Exactly. You can't think too much.
You can't stop.
You just go, and it's the story is more important than you. You just got to tell it, and you can't think too much, and you just got to go as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm. But you do have to have your thoughts clear. I'm like an idiot around the house, like we're going over and over and over the speeches when there are speeches to make sure that the thoughts are differentiated.
Have you guys tripped over your tongue now? Have there been some real things where you just gone, God, I can't get
Oh,
this?
yeah. We were shooting.
Guillermo.
I had like a little.
Yeah,
oh my God.
He had to do some
Oh, yeah.
serious computer stuff, like lingo at high speeds, which is like...
With the computer and
yeah.
pull stuff up on the computer, and I kept messing up over and
It was like a combination of letters and numbers and tech information.
I think in the plane episode, I was like, there's like three soft thumbs, but I had to say it so fast.
Three soft thumbs.
Three
Try
soft
saying
thumbs.
that 3 times. Three soft thumbs.
I literally turned into unable to speak.
Yeah.
But then when we're all off not shooting and they're setting up lights and stuff, we kind of
always
run our
running
scenes,
and running.
or constantly running it.
That's what's amazing about the show. It's one of the things where you need your castmates. It's a very much rhythm-based. There's music in the dialogue, so it's not like, oh, I'm going to say my line and there's this dramatic pause. Like everything is like timed out to perfection, like choreography, but
And it's really refreshing because no one is too proud to rehearse. I mean, there's no divas. We're all
until second season.
We're all like really willing to help each other out. It's the most generous group.
Yeah.
So there's that too. So that we actually need to
rely on each other.
And we do, and you can go to anybody. I mean, I would jump better best for anybody here.
And you have to get every single word correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about this. There are, before we started shooting the pilot, Shonda Rhimes sent everybody an email saying, I'm not sure how it is on other jobs or whatever, but on this specific show, I have picked every word specifically, and they all are important to me. You get to say them how you want to say them, but what you say is what we've written. And so, we have to run it a million times just to make sure the uhs and the thes and the ofs are in the right place.
Yeah.
It's really challenging, but it's a great challenge to have, and I think we all...
It's made us better actors.
But I love that she's like, you just have to say all the words, but you can say them how you want to say them. Like she doesn't care how you say them.
Just say all
you get to have a little bit of a say in how the character is shaped.
Yeah.
There's a collaborative effort or a collaborative take that Shonda has. That's, I think, rare in TV creatives. It was fun watching the guest stars come in on different episodes of the show, and they weren't necessarily aware of the pace when they auditioned, and the director would be like, okay, that's great. Just put it all together, no pauses, like say it 5 times faster. And you could see there started to be this adjustment, and we had some amazing guest stars on the show. I mean, Linda Lowy is brilliant in her casting, but they would really were sort of caught off guard, a lot of them, because it's just not your typical rhythm that you see on TV.
There's a reason. It's not just like exercise in futility. It's we don't have time. These people are in a fast-paced business. They don't say words that they don't need. They don't waste time talking. If they're talking, it's for a reason, and they got to get it done. They don't have time clock. So that's what the show is.
And Judy Smith, who the show is based on, Kerry Washington's character is based on this real person, Judy Smith. Judy Smith mentioned to us when she was sharing points about how her office works, they speak in shorthand to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they've worked together so long and so intimately that they have a way of talking. They know each other so well. It's just like you would with a really good friend or a family member. It's shorthand. You don't have to explain as much as you would.
When I read the pilot, I mean, obviously the first scene is that awesome monologue, which I mean, to be quite frank, in my career, I hadn't seen anything that cool written, for me. So that was my initial attraction. And then I was just, the world in which we were delving into was just awesome. And Harrison is just cool, he's slick, he's not a dork, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to play a character that had some kind of swag.
And swag, he's got.
And he gets to wear freaking $1,000 suits.
Those socks.
I was like, I'm in, sign me up, guys. Gucci suit, check.
Yeah, I felt the same way when I read that script, and I was like blown away. I could not read quick enough. I could not flip the pages fast enough. And Quinn, I mean, I've said this before, you guys know this, but I don't know if you guys know this, but Quinn is my middle name. And I was like, it's meant to be, this is my role. And which, like, never happened.
Well, Wright is my
name. No, it's not. See? Such a Quinn Harrison. But, so yeah, and I loved her. I just, you will see as the season unfolds that there is a lot more underneath Quinn Perkins that you don't know, and there's a lot of secrets and things, and you just don't get that in a lot of 20-something roles. They're not always complex and interesting and contradictory, and that just was so exciting to me.
For my audition, I think for a couple of us, Shonda wrote monologues for our characters that had a lot of information. So I think like a week or a few days before my audition for Scandal, I had an audition. My manager's here, and I was like, and the guy's like coming out of the ocean, and he's like, in a, I don't know, he's just shirtless and showing at me, and I was like, you guys, where are all the like emotionally crippled, like, tragic, like good characters? And then Scandal came along, and I was like, oh my God, it was just a dream, and I connected to the characters so much, and I auditioned for Shonda, and it was just right. It just felt right, and it's amazing. It's an amazing experience.
Definitely for me, the writing was the first thing that drew me to this pilot. I love Shonda's specificity. She's so specific with the characters. I love Abby's specificity. I actually love that Abby's a little bit of a dork as opposed to Harrison. She's a little like emotionally like too exuberant when she shouldn't be, and a little bit, and just that she's got this awkwardness in her maybe love life or personal life, and that she's really all about her work. That was fun when I read the pilot. I really loved that. She wasn't just this polished two-dimensional woman, that she had some substance and some oomph to her. And I also love that she speaks her mind, which I find to be quite refreshing for women in TV, to get to really say what you mean.
This is Olivia Pope's dream team of fixers in Washington, D.C. These are the people that affect the entire planet behind the scenes. Do you guys have an idea, either at the beginning or through the course of the season, why your character was chosen to be on that dream team?
Ooh, great question.
Spoiler!
No spoiler there.
No,
I didn't know. I was in. I was just. All I knew is my job was this is my boss, and I will jump over the proverbial bridge or cliff for her at any point. But like she said, as the show progressed, sitting down with Shonda, how did I get here? What brought me to this office? Where did you find me? He says a great line in the pilot, we're all stray dogs. And she took you in. Don't question it. So, but once that came, where did you take me in from? And so as that started to unfold, which I'm not going to tell you.
There's a reason why every single person she handpicked specifically for their skill set and what they offer to the firm, but also because of where they've been, for sure. And she definitely has a soft spot in her heart for taking in stray dogs and
Right.
building them back up and using the skills that they're really good at.
And regardless of how messed up we are in our personal lives, we're all really, really good at what we do.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's, yeah.
Are the personal storylines for each of your character going to expand? Are we going to see a little more
Oh, yeah.
of their lives outside of the firm?
Yeah. Yeah. No, but you see.
No,
I mean,
even
Oh yeah, well you see it in that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's outside stuff for sure of
very typical of a Shonda Rhimes show where, you're not just seeing a procedural case of the week. We're not just fixing a scandal of the week or, a scandal per episode. There's also like all this other stuff going on for multiple characters at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it feels so packed in when you read the script or, we got to see the episodes. I mean, there's really no time to breathe. You're just like, oh yeah, and then there's,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
there's some steamy personal stuff that
Steamy.
occurs outside of the firm. There's some steamy stuff.
Yeah, Shonda brings sexy to a whole new level. I mean, there's sexy Grey's Anatomy, and there's sexy Private Practice, and then there's sexy Scandal. It's
The
real.
word scandal's just sexy.
I agree.
Yeah.
But we both are best.
True.
What do you even mean?
And the stuff that you guys are going to see that Huck has been through and what his life was and how Olivia took him in and brought him into her firm, and it's just it's you guys are going to be blown away
Blown away.
about what happens, and it's not just me, it's all of us. We all have these these pasts that are just like, really, like this is what they did and what they lived through. And anyway,
I think Harrison's relationship to Quinn is one that's very interesting. I think, obviously he was sent out to bring her into the company, and I personally I feel like, I don't know if Harrison felt like this girl was had the makings to work for this firm. She's kind of skittish and nervous and wide-eyed and deer in headlights a lot of the time. But I think over time, as you get into the series, you get to see that she does have incredible assets to bring to the firm. So I think in that, when the respect is earned, then I think that a different type of relationship is birthed. And whether it be being a brother, which I don't think it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think, kind of like I have to steer you on the right way because you're kind of fast and loose right now.
I think Huck at first kind of wants to toughen her up, and as you see in that scene in the bathroom, I think he's thinking, I think I tell her, there's no crying, we don't cry ever.
On the job
And
training.
yeah, exactly. And she's in the bathroom there crying, and I think Huck is coming from a place of like, you better toughen up because this is a tough job, and he's just, he's trying to prepare her. And then you see in later episodes that I think Huck feels really like fatherly towards her, or like a big brother. And
We're also Huck and Quinn are always, as you'll see, they get grouped together sometimes just because Huck is always standing back and like observing the situation, and because I'm the newbie and always a step behind, the four, Harrison and Abby and Olivia and Steven are always like, what's going on? And Huck's always like around looking and having brilliant ideas, and I'm always like, what is happening? I don't know anything. And so, or like, somebody tell me what is happening. Like, so I think there's a lot of times where, Huck is like, it's okay, we're over here, it's fine. And then there's a lot of times where Harrison Wright is like, get your SHI blank together, and you're late. He's always like, tough love, like, get it together.
I'm certainly not computer savvy at all. I joined Twitter kicking and screaming and very reluctantly, and I still feel like I think my heading, or what is it called when your little
Your bio?
description, says nerd, and I play Huck on an ABC Scandal, so I'm trying to make sense of all this like Twitter and all this stuff, and it's like I miss writing letters to my friends, when I was a teenager. I literally, does anybody remember writing letters? Actual letters? Anyway. But, I'm playing Huck. I get to play in this world that I'm not familiar with at all, and it's a blast,
I'm sure Shonda has said it. I mean, she has said it, but she approached it like a British miniseries. So, taking a note from that alone, if you watch any of the shows on the BBC, they're very cinematic and they're very enthralling because of that aspect. It's not like the blown out lights and the regular bright colors and it's very moody, and I think at 10 p.m. next Thursday it's going to be the perfect time for people to, you're 10 p.m., you're moody. Get your glass of wine. They're not, it's that, So,
Get your booty on.
Get your booty on, Fortunately, by God's grace, I didn't audition for this. Shonda, I feel like in my head, I've told her this, she knew she wrote that for me. Because when I read it, I was like, no way. Shonda, no way. This is the words just came out of my mouth. It just fit, and it just fits.
I auditioned for Quinn, and like I said earlier, when I read the script and Quinn was my middle name, I just sort of lost my mind. I was like, oh my God, please, if anyone's listening, let this happen. And I went in once and I read for Shonda Rhimes and Betsy Beers and Linda Lowy, the wonderful casting director, and Will Stewart. And I went in once, and then they were talking about bringing me in for ABC, the studio and network, to test for the role. And a week later, I got a call, you have to go in again, and I went in, and I had been on Private Practice and Grey's Anatomy, and so I had been in front of Shonda a couple times, and she sat me down, and she said, we're not going to bring you in to test, and I almost started crying, because I said, all right, just pick yourself up, it's okay, you didn't get the part, and she said, the reason we're not going to test you is because I'm going to give you the role. And then I started hysterical crying. And then I asked if I could hug everybody. And they said I could. And so I hugged everybody, and then Shonda said, okay, we're going to make a pilot. You're going to get a call, you're going to get a wardrobe fitting, we're going to do a reading. And I was like, just so happy, and it was like my American Idol moment or something, if you can call it that. It was awesome, and I'm so thankful. It's been the best experience of my life. Yes.
I auditioned for Amanda Tanner, but they were like, you look more like a Huck. I auditioned for the role, and Shonda and Betsy Beers were in the room, and I remember finishing my audition and just looking at them, and we were all just they were a little bit teary-eyed, and I was emotional, and we just kind of stared at each other for a minute, and I was like, okay, thanks, bye, and I left, and then I think 2 days later, I got the role. They gave me the role.
Yay! I auditioned for Abby, and the character description was round, knits a lot, has a lot of cats, cheery. So I decided to wear a cashmere turtleneck sweater under my suit, to throw in a little bit. Okay, I knitted this. And there was this monologue that Shonda had written that I never actually say in the series, but it's this brilliant monologue about how Steven smells. And when I did this monologue, I actually ripped a hole in my turtleneck sweater right in the front, a huge hole, because I was just so caught up in the moment of how Steven smells so good. And then they called me back to test, so I had to go get the turtleneck sewn back up quickly, and then I tested, and Shonda gave me this 30-second stare of silence, and it was just true love.
Darby and I, you can't see us right now, but Darby and I are looking at each other, I have goosebumps, and Darby is getting teary-eyed, because you're hitting a nail on the head of just to have roles for women that are like Abby and Quinn is next to impossible to, one, even exist, and two, for us to get them. And then the other side of the whole thing is that this show was written and created by a woman about a woman as being played by a woman, and it's just like, to be a part of this is so much. I just feel it's so much bigger than, you know, it's just huge and exciting, and we feel so passionate about the work that's being done, and to be a woman and being a part of it is just, I mean, it's unlike anything I've felt.
It means the world to me. I feel like I am emotional because I feel like oftentimes for women you have to cut off little parts of yourself to play a role on TV. You know, it's not fully developed, and I feel like these women characters, I mean, on Shonda's show, she writes women so well. I feel like I can take full breaths. I feel like I get to use all parts of myself. I feel like it's challenging. I feel like I get to bring stuff that I'm not comfortable with. So as an actor and as a woman, it's the biggest gift to feel really fulfilled on such an honest way, because that's how women are. So it's profoundly special that we get to be a part of this, and I'm just overwhelmed with how lucky we are and how rare it is.
How is working with Kerry, and how is she similar to her character?
Khaleesi.
She's just incredible. I mean, she's the best leader. She really is our leader. I mean, as her character and as Kerry Washington, you know, she took such care of the group, and I think, you know, the week leading into, before we had ever met or shot anything, she's calling all of us and emailing all of us to talk about backstory and how we met. You know, she takes this job on to 150% of her ability, all day, all night, and she cares about every single one of us and about our characters and nurturing all of those choices, and also us as people. I mean, she's just...
It's so refreshing.
The classiest.
As a woman,
I mean,
too.
she is unbelievable.
Class act.
Just there's no sense of like weird competition or weird or status. I mean, she is she is a true star. She has such grace and generosity of spirit.
Present company included, I've worked with a lot of female actors. I don't know how that's happened, but like, she by far, including these two, with her resume and her, you know, Kerry Washington, it's, you know, her name, you wouldn't know. She was about the team. It's like,
she's all about the work.
All about the work and making you feel comfortable, where you can feel comfortable knowing that you're going to help me make this scene better. You're going to allow me to go on my journey with you to make this scene better. You don't see that in a lot of actors. Sometimes, it's true, are very about themselves.
And they'll leave you out to dry.
And they'll leave you out to dry.
Yeah.
In a scene, I'm talking
the
about.
other one, yeah.
But she's, I mean, rehearsing on days. She has
days off.
I mean, she had the days off, and she was working so many hours, and let's come to the studio and let's get around the table and let's rehearse for 2 hours on a lunch. Like, this is work ethic that when your leader we called her Khaleesi based on Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
But she's like, when you have a work ethic like that, attitude reflects leadership, and when your leader is like that, you either pull up or you ship out. And I think all of us pulled it up, you know what I mean? And that's nothing but a testament to her.